Well, welcome everybody to the leadoff club here at Pizza Ranch. Certainly appreciate everybody coming in. Appreciate Pizza Ranch for helping take care of the coaches' meals and Play Against Sports for sponsoring as well. Oh, you can't hear me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that.
Because everybody's talking.
Here at Pizza Ranch, of course, leadoff club here sponsored by Play Against Sports. And Ranch, thanks for helping me take care of the coach's meals. I don't think anybody here he is right there.
What? What?
So he snuck in right on time.
What, John?
Again, before we get started, I did get talk to Art this past week, and we wanted to thank everybody for prayers and anything that they've done as far as donations. He's got the talk to text down, so we listened back and forth that way. But Coach Rowe, what's the latest?
Yeah, what I did, tried him and his wife both this morning to see if the latest update. I went up talking to Chris, his son. It's continuation of when I talked to her last week. We just 5 days pretty hard on respiratory debt. He's pretty well whipping that. The difficult time is finding Springfield where he can have rehab for the rest of his body but they need to leave the trach there just for emergency sake. Well, most people won't take you to the operation. So I told him, well, I'm 1-to-1 as soon as I leave lunch today. I'm familiar with that. I had an aunt over there years ago, and so at least they give us an answer because he's getting run around. If they'll take him, won't take him. But he's continuing to improve. Loves the tax. He's responding more. Keeping up with all you guys far more than you need to know that he is. Any of the rest, football signings, basketball signings, him in his mind, it's like a steel trap. Once he gets it, he hangs on to it. He did tell me the same thing towards you. So much thanks for when he got a text from you, just knowing that you're here, you hear about others too, and all over the region. So I can't thank you enough for that. But trying to have some better news. If they could spot a place for him, then I think literally he got about a month setback when he had the pneumonia bed here. He thought he would be down here at the end of this month, but now it looks like it's about a month behind Fulmer as well. So please keep him in mind. And again, thanks so much.
Thanks, Coach. Thank you. And again, special thanks to this guy right here. He's got a lot of shoe leather in this. I know he's talked to every one of you guys and coaches and collected them, but Coach Snodgrass, I appreciate everything that you've done. Couldn't have put this together without you. Same thing here with Corey Riggs. And Corey, we will turn it over to you, and you go strider, call the ball.
I tell you what, I could only imagine how happy Art was on Sunday, because there's nothing like when some of his favorite things collide. And seeing as how the Royals are just as bad as the Cardinals are right now, not worse. There's no sense in talking about that. You had 2 Missouri State Bears sign unrestricted free agent contracts after the NFL draft to play for the Kansas City Chiefs. So I'm sure you enjoyed hearing about that over the week. We enjoy hearing about your teams and about how baseball season's going, and I know we're in the home stretch. Let's start with Coach Vince's teams. Rolled up 3 wins in a row and take on Jeff City Helias tonight.
Helias Catholic. They're coming down varsity JV tonight. It's been a bit since I knew we were 2-0 last time I was here.
It's been a minute.
Yeah. So, well, we're a unique squad where, at Springfield Catholic we battle obviously religious holidays, and so that kind of sets us apart from a normal Springfield baseball area schedule. A lot of teams can schedule, up to 33 games, which is where a lot of. But we just do that with the Easter break in the middle of our schedule and the depth. I don't know if people really know how many kids go to Springfield Catholic. It's about 360, 375. So it's not like we're rolling 50 to 60 baseball players out for tryouts. So we sit at 12-4 right now. That's probably about 10 or 15 games less than the rest of you guys here in this room, I would suppose. We started off 6-0. That was where we kind of got to. We had some good wins against Blair Oaks. Had some had a win against Nixon. I think those might have been the first 2 wins that I had talked about. And then, like I said, we got 6-0 and kind of got a reality check after that. I felt like our guys at 6-0 kind of just started to feel themselves a little bit. Coming off a Class 3 state championship appearance last year and then starting this year 6-0, I think, head of the horse. And so we go Branson, Joplin, we get wins there, wins against Reed Spring, and that's Reed Spring win was 6th. And then we hosted Fair Grove, in which we saw Garen Geitz, their number 1. He pitched really well, held us to, I think, 3 hits. And that was something that, going into that game, I knew that there'd be 2 good arms on the mound, but the conditions were good conditions to play in, so I thought we'd swing a little bit better. Nice job and controlled us. We got out to a 2-0 lead, and Coleman Morrison pitched in that game, and he dominated too. He was good. He was really good. He's been good all year. We take a 2-0 lead into the 7th, and then we cough it up. They put the ball in play and get some wells and score 4 runs, and they beat us 4-2. So that was our first loss of the year. Kind of always, it's not a bad thing to get that first loss out of the way. And then so we have a big matchup, and we go and play Glendale at Glendale. Ben Smith on the mound. There's some obviously KY3 and some scouts are there, and they just didn't throw very well. I mean, not that Glendale did well. They did a lot of things well. They hit a home run off of them. Ross Kettering got one out. And they beat us 10-0. And just kind of that moment where you're starting to say, all right, we can either get a little bit down on it bad for ourselves, or we can buck up and get back on the horse. So we rattle off 3 wins after that. Carl Junction, Aurora, and Hollister. Hollister was probably our best game of the year. Coleman Morrison against Tosa Rubber flat out dominates. We run in 10-0. We swing the bat well, hit 3 home runs that game, kind of get it back on track. Go to Ozark, didn't swing it well. 3 or 4 hits there. I think we have 1 home run, and then we get the big matchup against Raj and Ben Stone again. They did a good job of putting them in play and squaring some baseballs up. Brody McNeil hits a home run in center. We lose that game 12-6. And then we go Marshfield, Parkway Central, and Duchesne the last 3 games. And we got Marshfield at US Ballpark, especially late. I think it was like a 4-2, 5-2 game. And then we kind of exploded for 5 or 6 runs in 1 inning there and stretched it out. And then we picked up Parkway Central, went up there and played them. Didn't know anything about them. I think their catcher might have been going to SIU, but they're a solid club. They threw 1 pitcher every inning, so I'm not sure that they were really worried about trying to win that game or trying to get some guys some innings or see what they're going forward. I got some big conference games. And then we hooked up with another prep school, Duchesne, up in St. Charles, Missouri, and 4-2 out to a lead, and then exploded for some more offense. So I like where we're headed. Our bats are starting to come along, doing some things that high school baseball teams need to do: hit the ball the other way, bunt, try and run the bases well, and stay out of strikeouts. And I think our kids are doing a good job. So we got Elias tonight. Ben will toe the rubber for us. I don't think he's going to go. He'll be on a little bit of a limited pitch count because we got Rolla and Columbia this weekend at Rolla, and we got Mount Vernon for senior night tomorrow night. So districts for us: Rogersville, Mountain Grove, Ava, Willow Springs, us, and Hollister. And so we got 16 district, 1 and 2 will go by. That meeting is going to be a crapshoot just because with us bouncing classes, we didn't have all the teams scheduled, didn't get to play them all. So we'll probably be the 2 or 3 seed, and we'll figure out from there. Rogersville hosts it. They're nice to do. So, yep, that's about it for us. Appreciate you guys.
Coach Adams is here from Greenwood. They've won 3 in a row now. Take on New Covenant Academy tonight, Coach.
I may want to correct it because there's a technicality there. That 4th game is Galena, and I don't know if you guys know, we have to report, the very next. If we don't, we get an email. The whole school gets an email. I think the English teacher gets an email from Misha saying that we haven't got it in. Well, I started putting mine in after we played Galena, which we lost 14-12, and and he shouldn't be. I start putting him in, and all of a sudden there's a red flag, says there's a pitch violation. I'm like, it's not us. Minutes later, Derwin from Galena calls me. He goes, we threw a pitcher that he threw 22 pitches, and in one inning, he brought him in to shut us down. Threw 22 pitches, and he wasn't supposed to pitch at all. So Galena has to forfeit the game, and Derwin had to miss the next game. The coach has to miss the next game, and that's what our secretarial duties are, I guess, is part of that Mission has to do, which is a good thing. And I can look on the schedule and I can see who isn't eligible for them. So it kind of is a little bit of a pain for us to do all that, and it has to be done on JV and freshman level too, doesn't it? So, I told them I'm not taking the forfeit, but technically I may, at the end of the year, say we're now 9-5.
Contract negotiations.
But we played well here lately. We beat Daneville Friday night, and we beat Donovan, a Class 14 on Saturday. 6 and 10 strikeouts. Trenton Zarici had 10 strikeouts on Saturday. He also had a couple of big hits. Offensively, we do very well. We hit the ball. We score a lot of runs. The games that we lost, and Coach, I saw it yesterday, we give up some big innings, and it usually starts with a walk or an error. And I did some data mining on all those games, and I think when we give up 3 runs or more, and more, I'm talking about 7 or 8 sometimes, every one of them started with a walk or an error. And we can recover from 1 or 2 run inning, but it's hard to recover when the other team scores 6 runs. So that's to do with defense and the mentality of our pitchers. So we've tried to work on that a little bit, and it showed the last couple games. We play Monday, Wednesday, Friday this week. We play New Covenant tonight. We play Monette on Wednesday, another Class 14, and then Hurley on Friday night. I think we have 2 games next week, and that finishes up our season. We go to Norwood for our district tournament. I think we're the only team in our district that has a winning record. Norwood is a little down this year. They're usually really good, but I think they've only won 3 or 4 games this year. So meeting on Wednesday and see where that comes out at. We have one kid, and the 2 kids that I have that would probably maybe play for you guys. Trenton Zarici is hitting 500, and then we have this Chance Rose kid, he's 6'13". They're our number 2 and 3 hitters, and when they get up to the plate, nothing good is going to happen. The rest of the guys, all they have to do is get on base. And then that's something to think about, and that's been one of the reasons for our success. So, but guys, thank you very much for allowing us to be here. Yes, sir.
Question, could you clarify, I know the pitch count is different for freshmen, sophomores, or juniors, seniors. Can you tell those of us?
It actually goes from age groups. Each age group has a little bit, but basically if a kid throws 30 pitches, they can't throw the next day. They have to have a day's rest. 45, I think, is the next threshold. If they throw 45, they have to rest 2 days. Trenton threw 95 pitches on Saturday, so he can't throw until Thursday. 105 is the limit.
Freshmen and sophomores are capped at 95, juniors and seniors are capped at 105.
Okay, so there's a difference in freshmen and
Yes,
sophomores.
there is. Yeah, they take care of their.
Not 95 for freshmen and sophomores, 105 for the juniors and seniors. You can actually go over that. It just has to be your threshold was met in the middle of an AB.
then you can finish out the at-bat.
So a kid could throw 109 pitches if necessary.
Do you guys think this is a good thing? And how long has it been in effect? And have you been able to track less injuries or see any type of changes with your pitching staffs?
I think the responsibility falls on us, because it used to be, 10 innings in 3 days, and we never knew who threw 2 days before. But now with the Mish's website, we can get on and we can see who threw, how many pitches and everything else, and we can see who's ineligible. That's something that, I'll look at almost every game, see who cannot throw against us type thing. Coach, I don't know about the injury situation. It can't be a bad thing. It can't be a bad thing. So it's got to help us out somehow.
There's always the thing that can try to catch. I saw one game this year, down in 6 2/3, went out to go in. So I think the coach has been very observant for what I've seen.
I think it's a good thing for rest and recovery purposes. You throw up 85 and up, I think it's good to have those days off, but I don't know that injury-wise it's necessarily preventing. The 6 years that I've been at Catholic, the arm injuries that we had have been from a lack of preparation going into the season. We're expecting 15, 16-year-old kids to do their off-season work, and some coaches aren't allowed to have their own indoor facility or something like that. It's mission rules. And so we're expecting these kids to go out and properly train themselves, properly work up step by step to bullpens. And I see a lot of kids who wait till the first day of practice and then they come out and they throw a 15 to 25 pitch bullpen when they shouldn't be at full effort, but they do anyways because they want to impress the coach, and all of a sudden they've got a nagging arm injury the rest of the year. So, it'd be helpful if we could get these kids educated on proper training and off-season as well as in-season.
Anybody else?
I think Coach, your thing I think is frustrating is the kid goes 6 2/3 and they got to come out. I mean, if it's a state championship game and this kid's a senior with his whole life for it, you can't let him throw 5 more pitches to finish the game. And that's hard to do as a coach. But, hey, you got to come out.
Older, experienced kids.
Yeah.
Does it count if he switches on? Like the kid from Creighton used to? No, like that. This rule would not work for second line. No, that's absolutely true. Let's move on now. Marshfield, Coach Payne in the house, and his team 3 games above 500 now. Tell us a little bit about how.
Thanks for having me again. It's been 3 weeks since I was here last. That week, that Monday that I was in, we beat them 11-1. Kyler Massey, a senior for us, he pitched an absolute gem. He had 1 hit going into the 7th inning. They ended up getting a couple of flare shots and 3 hits in that game, but he pitched phenomenal. Our offense was really rolling that game. We go to Raj, and Raj was really good. They swung the bat. Our pitcher, anything that he missed, they hammered. So they captured them. They swung it really well. And then on Friday, we pitched a freshman in our annual kind of Friday Night Lights deal. People to our games. It's hard to get people to 4:30 games, especially students, if they're in soccer or track and stuff. And so we're trying to get more people to come to our games that way. And the freshman goes out. He's not playing. He's not pitching very well at his best. We're down 11-0 in the bottom second. And so we're just trying to hang on. So we put a senior in who's been really good for us up at 10. We ended up winning that game in the 8th inning, 15-14. So yeah, the offense that's the kid that was up there to go. They had a big inning. That's the first big inning that kid's ever given up this year. He's been absolutely nails. He's got an ERA of I think it's 1.3 before Catholic. So it's been really good. And then Catholic kind of did some damage. It's bound to happen at some point. So I'd rather have it happen then than districts when it really matters. The following week we played 2 more conference games, Mount Vernon and Reed Spring. Won both of those. Went into the 11 and won that tournament. Got 2 out of 4 there. We played Nixon and Camden lost those 2 games, beat Lebanon and the Osho on Friday. Then last week, got a district win over Parkview, faced a really good arm from them, Del Norte, and then saw Catholic on Thursday. We came back, we gave them a free spot in the first inning, had some errors, came back, it was 5-4, I believe, at one point, and then that's when they got their big inning and then just went away with it from that point. And so the guys are playing well. We're 7-4 since we've been here last. And like I told you guys the first time, we're really young, starting a lot of freshmen, a few sophomores. And so seeing those starting to mature, we do have one freshman who's got, I think it's 34, 35 hits on the season, hitting over 500 at this point. So he's playing really well. We're a tough district. We have Camden again tonight, another district opponent. Saturday, we got West Plains, another district opponent, all again on Saturday. And so we're trying to get ourselves in a good position in districts. We've got Camdenton, Glendale, Willard, all very ranked in Class 5 currently. So they're all, tough competition. It's going to be who's on their best that day, who's pitching well, who's hitting well, and who's the best, team on the field. And so I think really it's a toss-up on who can win that one. So there's a lot of good teams, and a lot of good arms. So guys, I appreciate you all having us out here.
Thank you.
Rep Bo's rattled off about 4 wins in a row now and get ready to go up the highway to take on Bolivar later today.
All right, I think it's been 3 weeks since I've been here. Last time I was here, I told you we were having some problems catching the baseball. That's not a good problem to have. I think that was Monday. On Tuesday, we went to Willard and won 15-5, and Willard made a game. And I told Scott when we were leaving, I said, whatever we've had for the last 3 weeks, I said, I think we just gave it to you. And I said, I hope you can get rid of it quicker than we did. And they played really well since then. But I think we're 9-3 since the last time I saw you guys. We've got a huge game tomorrow night with Nixa. Kind of rare in our conference. We have 4 teams right now that are all 6-1 going into this week, and it's all going to get decided by the end of the week. With us and Nixa, Willard, and Webb, we're all 6-1. We play Nixa tomorrow, and Webb and Willard play on Thursday. So 2 of us got to lose. And then who everybody else has in that final game. I know we've got the Osho on Wednesday or Thursday. So playing much better and done a really good job. I was going to highlight a few of our kids. We got Gavin Beckner's a senior. He's a 2-way guy for us. He's 4-1. His ERA is around 2.4 maybe. Hitting 375. Has a chance to have the most hits in a season in school history with a couple more. Could have the most RBIs in the season as well. I'm not sure he's got enough games left to get there, but he's had a couple of 4 or 5 RBI games, so he can make up some ground pretty quick. I'm sure some of you are probably familiar with that name. He's also our quarterback, at 380. Does a really good job behind the plate. And then we got a kid on the mound named Miles Lozano. That's a junior. Miles is 6-1 with a 2.06 ERA. Unfortunately for him, he had to pitch a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago at Parkview in the game against Webb City, and the wind was blowing about 40 miles an hour left. It was a hitter's paradise. And hard, obviously, as you would expect for anybody. But if we can take his only loss, he's 6-0 with a 1.14 without that game. He's 6-1 with a 2.06, including that game. So he's had a really nice year. So we just had really good production from our lineup, top to bottom, throughout the year. And we got a big week this week and postseason play coming in 2 weeks. Our district is, I know Coach Spitz was talking about theirs. Ours is because we play Nixa tomorrow. We have beaten Ozark, who beat Kickapoo, and Kickapoo beat us. So there's going to be a little lobbying in that room for the 2, 3, 4, possibly the one, depending on what happens with us and go. Highly competitive district. Any of us are capable of winning it. Hopefully we're hosting it. So if you guys don't have anything Friday, the 17th, 18th, and 20th, there'll be baseball being played at our place all day. So thank you guys for having us out.
Varsity Coach Heiser, I saw you smile when you started talking about the wind blowing to the left of your play. You guys get ready for Waynesville coming up next. Let us know how the Vikings have been doing.
Since last time I was here, we had played Fairgrove on that day, and we were down 7-2 and with 2 outs and nobody on, and we battled back to tie it with a grand slam to tie it, and we ended up losing it in the top of the year, and went a little bit downhill for us. The next couple games we didn't play very well, but then we kind of turned it around the last couple weeks, even though our record doesn't indicate that. We had Kickapoo. We were up against Kickapoo 3-1 in the 4th inning with 2 outs, and then our shortstop at third base collided. We dropped the ball and lost one of our top players for the next about 3 games. Ended up losing that game 8-4. It was 5 games in the bottom of the 6th, or the top of the 7th. And then they scored a couple more, and then kept losing that one by 4. Then we had a game against Clever. We lost 4-0. Their guy threw the ball real well. We had 11 or 12 strikeouts. And then we had we're losing some close games. I think we went 2 straight games with getting 3 hits in 14 innings with no runs. And then we play Raj, and it was a 3-0 game on Saturday morning, and had to make a pitching change. Again, because of that, our younger guys, and they scored 4 more, ended up losing 8-0. And we battled back against Carthage the next game and beat them 6-5. And then this past week, we played really well, but we had 3 one-loss, 3 games, 1-run loss against Marshfield. We had an 8-2 lead, and then they battled back and beat us in the bottom of the 7th. And we had Hillcrest, lost 2-1 against them. And then this past Thursday, played West Plains. During that time, I think we had a stretch of another 25 innings of 5 hits offensively. So we're just not swinging the bat very well. Trying to do all the little things, trying to bunt, but we don't get those angles. So we're not too successful there. But we're trying. We're scrapping. I think we're finally kind of getting it. So excited for this week. Top of Lanesville, we got there, doubleheader against Seneca and Aurora on Saturday. We finish up against Green Springs. One guy I'd like to note is a left-handed pitcher and center field, right fielder for us, Aiden Pissarro. He's batting about 370. And the guy on the mound, whenever he's on the mound for us, does a good job of keeping guys off balance. And we play a really good game with him on the mound because he hits throwing strikes. And we compete really well with him. And then he's batting 370. But our record obviously doesn't what we've been doing the last couple of weeks, but we have been playing better ball, and it's a good thing for us these last 5 games. Thanks.
The fellows from Fairgrove, the last 2 coaches to speak on the high school side, get ready to lock horns here in the next few hours. So we'll start with Coach Reed from Fairgrove.
Well, thank you guys again for record-wise. We're sitting at 12-13. I want to highlight some of our seniors. We got 3 seniors. Garen Guy, which Spitz mentioned him earlier. He's a returning second-team All-State guy, and we kind of knew we could count on him. I think his record right now, he's 5-2 with a 180 ERA. Coach Snodgrass can attest to him. He's hit 3 holes most of the year for us, but we feel as a team, obviously coaching as well, that we can win about any game with him on the mound. Gives us a great opportunity going into our district tournament. I got a catcher, Landon Taylor. He's started a lot for us over the last couple of years. I think he started off really slow offensively. He did a good job catching, received it really well. He's got up to about 300 batting average there. And then we've got a third senior, Landon Sekulik. He's a kid, just kind of a blue-collar guy. Didn't really play varsity any the last few years, but has worked hard. Great, very coachable, very respectful. If we ask, hey, can somebody water this part of the field? He's doing it. And he's been rewarded. I think around 311, he can bunt it. He's got some bunt hits, so that helps. And Landon Taylor lead us in hit by pitches. So really quality young men. Just glad it's my first year to have these guys leading us. And then we've got a lot of young guys after that. But our schedule, looking at it, if we play all 30 games, the first time I was here, I mentioned we tried to schedule pretty difficult. I think 17 of our 30 games will be against Class 4 or above schools. And so we've been in a lot of close games. I think we've had 13 games decided by 1 or 2 runs. And so, we've been pretty battle tested. This past weekend, on Friday, we went down to Mountain Home, Arkansas, a couple hour bus ride down there, and played those guys. And it was a 1-1 game, top 7th inning. Not so bang play at first, doesn't go our way, and would have scored us a run. And then really, guys competed. You never know, taking a road trip like that, what's going to happen. And then we Saturday get up and play Central. And Coach White's done a great job with those guys. I think we saw their number 1 and ended up beating those guys 6-1, and played Mountain Grove the next game. And just with a busy schedule and looking ahead to today and tomorrow, we really had some guys pitching wise that had done a lot of varsity, and we knew they could swing it. And got down, I think, 11-2 in the 6th. And one of those deals. Hey, it's been a tough 24 hours. What we're going to do? And credit to our team, they put up an 8th spot. It's 11-10. And do not, but just another opportunity to compete. And so I'm really proud of the guys they've done that. It's one of the highlights. The last 4 games are kind of our MO has not been playing very good defense. I think our team ERA is like 2.6, but we're giving up about 6 runs a game. Just because defensively we're not real good, but we put together about 4 straight games where we're playing really good defensively, maybe 1 error in one of those games. So we've played well, and it's given us some confidence. And I really do think with that in our schedule, we're going to have a chance to hopefully compete. We've got obviously a big one tonight with Clever. Tomorrow night we've got Stockton, which is a district opponent, which will be a little bit interesting because I think we're going to play the first round of districts here in a couple of weeks. So the strategy behind, pitching, what do we do, what do we not do. But Stockton, Skyline, one of those 2. And then we have El Dorado Springs and Pleasant. Really like our guys. I think we'll have a chance to compete for a district championship, but it's baseball. You gotta play. But excited to see how the next couple of weeks go.
Our final high school coach from Clever, Coach Cobb. Your scouting report on Fair Grove tonight, feel free, but let us know how the Blue Jays have been battling.
Yeah, well, if we need recommendations, who pitch, he doesn't have to our guys started. But no, we last time I was here, we were winning some games, and we actually went on a 15-game win streak. There was a week in there where we had 3 walk-off wins, 4-3 against Mount Vernon, 1-0 against Monette, and then 7-6 and 8 innings against Lighthouse. So that week a lot kind of went our way, and it was, a couple balls don't bounce our way, we could have an 0-3 week that week. So we got lucky there, played well. We kind of hit our run a little bit now. Played Ash Grove last Tuesday. They're legit. They're good. They hit upper 80s out there. Wow. Okay. They beat us 6-2, and then played Skyline last week. We were down 5-0 before we even got an out. And we blocked one, made no errors. But we competed in that game, kept battling hard. My group just fights like dogs. No matter what happens, they can be down with one out left, and they find a way to get back in the game and tie it and all that. We just compete really, really well, and I'm proud of them for that. Even though last week wasn't great for us, we had some good news by Stratford beating Forsyth. At least we get in the conversation for having the one now. It's going to be between us, Forsyth, and Stratford. And so we have a little bit of say in it now because we lost Forsyth head-to-head, but we beat Stratford head-to-head. So it all comes down, how Spartans. But we're going to go out there and give us our best shot at it. We play districts. I think the first game is Saturday, May 13th. And then semifinals are May 15th and championship is the city out of Stratford. I wouldn't ever say I'm glad that we lost the game, but I didn't want to go on a huge winning streak, and then I'd be like paranoid and all that stuff. I'm a very superstitious guy. So I was very disappointed with how we played last week. It was almost hopefully like a weight off. Our guys are kind of still learning. They haven't had this much success in a long time. We were doing the hunting all year, and now we're getting hunted, and then we're going to see how we respond to them. Teams are celebrating after they beat us, which they should. That's awesome. Means we were playing well, but we've got to respond and do something they've never done before. They had us down from behind or anything like that. So hopefully we get back on that tonight. No offense. No, it'll be a great game. They well coached. Expect a really, really good ball game tonight that'll help us for district.
Thanks.
All right, we'll jump back down to the far corner of the room. BBC gets a 4-game sweep of Champion Christian College over the weekend. Record now 36-19. Coach Merrill, what a difference in your mix.
Yeah, thank you guys for having us. Yeah, we're a 27-game better than we were last year, so I think with the exception of Coach Gutten's team, the Pats are one of the hotter teams around. We finished up the regular season with the sweep at Champion. They played us really tough, 4 tough games on the road, so really fortunate to get out of there with 4 wins. That was the end of our. We finished number 2 in the conference, 1 game back of College of the Ozarks. We're currently number 6 nationally in the polls, which is ahead of College of the Ozarks, even though they've got us head-to-head. So now we wait a little bit. Tomorrow, our regional tournament information comes out. That tournament will start at College of the Ozarks a week from today. There are 5 regional tournaments in the NCCAA. Those 5 regional tournament winners go to the World Series. The host, which is Kansas Christian, goes to the World Series, and 4 at-large bids, which goes strictly off the rankings. So if we position ourselves just a touch better than we are right now, if we don't win our regional tournament, we would have a chance at at-large. Having a good year. Local kids all over that roster doing a great job. Jackson Vestal from Marshfield is our number 1. He's 9-1. He's a really, really good pitcher. Every time the ball, we win games. But if you ever look at our roster, come out and see us. It's a bunch of just playing. They love to play baseball, and we're having a really good year. So excited to see what the next couple of weeks bring for us. Thank you guys for having me.
Van Valor wrapped up their season this weekend, but it finished on a high note with a pair of wins against Baker, right, Coach?
That's right. Yeah. Thanks for having us this last time. I'm the one with the dubious distinction of having the season concluded already. So since I was here last time, we made a trip to Mid-American Nazarene and Olathe, Kansas. We got 4 games swept there, including 2 losses. The following weekend, we went up to Lamoni, Iowa to play Graceland. We ended up splitting with them. We won game 1. We're actually up there without our ace, Austin Dill. He had an opportunity to go to the Frontier League tryout and kind of get some eyes on him there. Managed to win that first game without him. Had a rough one game 2. Game 3, we had a 4-0 lead, and what is kind of deal for much of the season. After scoring an additional 2 runs to go up 4-0, we proceeded to give up 4 runs. And then they scored another one in the bottom of the 6th to get that go-ahead run. As our team has done time and time again, after many of those tough outings, we have have bounced back. We've shown resiliency and toed the line and got a win in game 4 there. And kind of the same scenario this last weekend. We had a rough day last weekend hosting Baker. Lost game 1. It was a 5-0 game through 5. And we I believe it was through 6 actually. And Easton was back with us there. He was at 98 pitches, I believe, through 6. Turned it over and just had a poor outing by our bullpen. Ended up giving up 10 runs. Just could not get that out. Losing 15-1, I believe. Game 2, we played a much tougher. Ended up losing 5-1. So we had that same conversation we've had with them multiple times. Like, hey, going gets tough. The tough get going. Let's show up tomorrow with the right mindset. And represent ourselves well. Let's finish the season being ourselves, playing the right way. So ended up, I think, recording the most hits this season on any given day. We had 27 hits on the day. One game 1, 13-4. And then game 2, it was tied all the way through. Actually, we're down 4-3 going into the bottom of the 6th, and scored 4 runs to up 7-4, and ended up holding on for the win. So ended up 25-25. We were 12 games over 500 in non-conference play, 12 games under in conference play. So failed to accomplish our 2-team goals of finishing above 500 and qualifying for the conference tournament. And that's a tough pill to swallow, but ultimately we can look back and see that there was a lot of improvement to suffer those heartbreakers consistently. I'm a firm believer you can suffer demoralizing, but you gotta be good to get your heart broken. And unfortunately, we were there many times. So I think we're getting close to taking that next step to winning more of those games, and that should be a difference maker as we go into the new conference next year, the KCAC, where there's plenty of capable teams also. So thanks again for including us in this.
Thank you, guys.
Well, the regular season is done as well for Drury. A tough 4-game series on the road this weekend against one of the tops in the country.
When you talk about one of the hottest teams in the area, the Drury Panthers would not be in that list right now. As we've talked about since I've been here, we've either been really good or really bad, and we're in that bottom stretch right now. So, went to Quincy, who is they were 8th in the country going in the top 5 after this weekend. I didn't get to make the trip to the first game, so I actually went to go watch Marquette versus Francis Howell. We're both really good, so if you're looking for a win, don't schedule either one of those teams. But so I left Quincy to go watch that, watch some junior college games on the way up to try to find some players for next year. So I was just watching live stats and on my phone and watching video as opposed to trying to sneak into the football stadium that I could have done and watched from right field. Didn't work for Coach Gunn at Evansville.
I don't know anybody with soccer.
We started well, had some hits, and against Quincy's number 1 pitcher of the year last year. Spencer Walker's really good. He's 92, 93 with a good slider. We got a ton of men on, but they also did. And so we had 19 men reach base, but we left 14 of them on. And so that was pretty tough. I think we hit in 3 double plays. We gave 5 consecutive hits to start the game, which were all singles, which were much better than what we did over the rest of the weekend. And we ended up losing that game, I think, 9-5. Brady Childs was a bright spot for us. He hasn't pitched a ton for us and gave us 2 scoreless relief outings at the tail end. And so hoping going forward we can build on that. The next day, we were down early. Meeks gave up 6 in the first 2 innings. On 4 home runs. If you've been to Quincy before, it's a short porch. Wall's probably about that high. It's 285 to right field. And the wind blows out. Quincy had, I think, 109 home runs this year, which is, I think, top 3 in the league. If you add them together, they don't equal what Quincy has right now. They're an old team. I think they have 13 grad transfers or grad guys on their team. They're extremely offensive. And they're built to their park. They've lost 2 games at home this spring. So they're hard to beat, and they all hit the ball in the air the other way. And if you've ever been to US Ballpark, you don't want to hit the ball in the air the other way. So it didn't match well for us in terms of what we do offensively. We scored 6, a 7-6 lead. All right.
or an 8-7 lead. We took an 8-7 lead going into the bottom of the seventh. Actually, Max Elmer hit a 3-run home run. So he hit one home run at Glendale, and then he got one out, hit it about 287. Got into it, which would have 4-hopped the wall at US home run. Tyler Bastunas hit his first home run of the year, and so guys who shouldn't hit home runs hit home runs there. Their 3-hole has 27 home runs on the year, so he deserves a few of them, and he got out in 4 this weekend. And so we scored 6, go up 1, and the guy who's got 24 home runs steps up, hits a 2-strike home run over the right field wall. Wind blown or not, it lived for both teams. And then we get 2 quick outs, and then go walk off grandstand. So end up losing that one by 4. Had a chance to win that game. Pretty demoralizing. Next game was more demoralizing. I wish we could have played 15 after 3 like we did in Legion Ball when I played. We got beat 16-0. Next day we show up on senior day. Quincy's a fun town. I mean, there's not much to do besides just support Quincy, and so the community comes out and they're well served around town, and so they get pretty rowdy, and they'll get under your outfielders a little bit, and then our guys weren't very tough, so we end up taking that loss and come back. We have to sit and wait to see what happens for conference tournament next week. Clinched a spot in the conference tournament 1 week to go. We drew a bye for this last week of the year, so we just have to sit here and figure out what everyone else is going to do. There's 5 teams or 4 teams for the last 3 spots. We'll most likely get a 6 or 7 seed, unless UMSL has to go win the series against Illinois Springfield, or Indy has to win the series against Lewis. Many different scenarios, and we just need one of them to happen, and we'll be good. So we'll prepare like we're playing this next weekend. Starting pitching wise has been our strength, but it wasn't this past. We gave up 14 runs in the first inning in 4 games. So it's pretty tough for us to come back. I will say something that I'm extremely proud of. We had our all sports auction, our all sports painter gala on campus, and the baseball team got the highest GPA of any men's team on campus. We're the largest men's team on campus. We have 50 players, and from last spring to this fall, we had a 3.56 team GPA. And so our guys do a fantastic job in the classroom. And then we were also awarded the Community Service Award because we had over 500 community service hours among all teams and club teams. So extremely proud of that. Would love to hit some more balls in the air to right field, but by some good men. So appreciate you having us out.
Well, as Coach Merriman said, Bears baseball's been on the plate. Missouri State's won 7 in a row now, including 7th-ranked Arkansas here at Hammondfield. They have won 12 straight games now in Missouri Valley Conference play. And on top of that, on Sunday, they stole the season high 5 bases, which had the guy on the radio a gap all of a sudden. So we'll hear about it all from Coach Jeff.
Well, when you play Arkansas, it's a really good night when they only call the Hawks once. That was before the game. So that was a win in itself. But great atmosphere, playing a good team. They were a little banged up, but so is everybody at this point in the year. And they managed to only hit a few balls to third base, which really helps. So defensively, we've kind of had our struggles yesterday to improve that, and it did. Our regular third baseman's got a broken finger. He'll get x-rayed tomorrow. If it's starting to heal, he could play as early as this coming weekend. We go to Murray State as a schedule maker, has it in the Missouri Valley Conference. We don't make the schedule, we just play it. But the last 3 weekends, we'll play Murray State, who's in 4th, SIU, who's in 3rd, and Indiana State, who's in 1st. So that's going to tell us a lot, obviously, about where we're seated in the conference tournament, which is at Indiana State, who's 16-2 currently in the league and has a very good club. Individually, some of you may have seen on social media, Zach Stewart hit the 50 RBI. We've only had 4 freshmen in the history of the program that have done that. Ryan Howard, Jason Hart, Matt Brewer, and Zach Stewart. So that's pretty good company for a power hitter as a freshman. Great things ahead for him, one of Randy's former guys with the Nationals. Reed Metz came in from Rogersville and threw his first high leverage situation against Arkansas. Did a great job between he and Ziegenbein, who who there is no pitch count for ever, by the way. They threw 5 1/3, hitless, no walks, no runs. Really a big key to that particular game. But Reed's a guy that we're really hopeful will continue that the rest of the season. He missed the first 8 to 9 weeks. The weekend went pretty well, 3 solid starts again. I thought Brandon Thompson on Friday had been pitching effectively, but not real well. That was as sharp as he'd been in a month. He was on top of his game, struck out 7, walked 1. Saturday, we swung the bat pretty good. Wind was blowing out. Minton was pretty good again. Sunday, we just traded our errors in for walks, so we didn't make any errors, which that hadn't happened in a long time. And we walked 8, let Valpo back in the game, and ended up winning 9-6. So good weekend. We're playing better. Need to catch the ball a little bit, but I like what we're doing. We play Nebraska Omaha tomorrow night at Urban Youth Academy, where the Randy's World Series will be. It's kind of halfway for both teams. It's supposed to be 70 degrees. We've got a lot of alums from the Kansas City area that will show up. We opened that stadium in 2018. We were the first game ever played there, played University of Iowa. It's a good facility, good situation. Just FYI.
There's that.
Yeah, not a good spelling ride home, but we'll feed them and we'll get there. Questions?
You go to Murray.
Go to Murray this weekend, play there in 2019, not a turf field. Probably not going to qualify as the best field in the league, but it is what it is, and we'll go after them. They're pretty solid. This is their first year in the league. They're the OVC. They're pretty good. They've got a guy on Friday that people are talking about, so I think it'll be a good competitive weekend for us. Thank you.
Coach, at the top of the conference, how many games out? You guys
We're 2 out. We're 14-4. Indiana State 16-2. SIU's 3 games behind us, 11-7. So all 8. Well, excuse me. We have 10 teams that play. 8 go to the conference tournament. Kind of a weird bracket. 5 plays 8, 6 plays 7 the first day. Both winners and losers continue on. It's just how it impacts the next day's schedule. And 1 and 2 are the best situation to be in as far as the seeds and who you play. And we used to have that as a play-in day. And the guys that got eliminated, they continue on. You just get the advantage. Not playing, obviously, they're going to have to use their number 1, and yours is rested. So that's the format this year. It changes yearly in the Valley.
You'd have to play 7 games potentially if you're that, like 7 seed that wins or loses games.
We're not going to be the 7.
No, I'm just saying, potentially someone has to play 7 games in the conference tournament.
It's basically an 8-team double elimination tournament.
How many we play last year? 5 or 6? 6. 6 last year. We had rain at the right time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have a question for the high school seating. It seems like the seating meetings are always fairly contentious. Has there ever been a way to seed it without the coaches who are actually in that district seating for people who've been in the area before? It's just weird to think you take the 6 people who are in it and then as opposed to someone from the outside deciding what seeds you guys are.
It's never been done. No, I can tell you it's never been done from the outside. Sometimes it's pretty cut and dry. I mean, there's a criteria. So it's usually your first is, win-loss record as a team. Second is head-to-head against each other. Third would be strength of schedule. Fourth would be opponents. That's why I say our situation is unique, because half the time I go into a district meeting not playing half of the district, because Mission does not put out the districts and the alignments and class alignments until the first week the season is beginning. So we all go out and make our schedules and we do everything we should, and then all of a sudden you can be thrown in a district where you're not, I had no idea what district I was going to be in this year. I could be here with Rogersville, or I could be up here with Versailles and, all those, Eldon and Buffalo. So for us, it's hard. I'm sure it's a lot easier for you guys just because you're in a pretty common district every year. It doesn't change too much, but it's going to be nasty at mine because I don't play Mountain Grove. they beat Fairgrove, we lost to Fairgrove, but I think we're better than Mountain Grove.
So does Fairgrove.
But no disrespect to Coach Vaughn at Mountain Grove, he's got his team playing well. They're at 20-7 overall or something like that. And the hard part is that we do have more common opponents. It's just the district meeting is Wednesday. We play. They still got to play Hollister, which is in the district. And we're having a district meeting before all the district games are completing. So I like that one blows my mind.
It just seems strange to all get in the room and argue that you're better than that team, and then you have to play that team the next week. Which is told them how much better you are.
Yeah, that's the hard part too. Is I got to go in there and argue and say, well, I think we're better than you because we're Springfield Catholic, and then I get put in that position as a coach. Where it's like, you just think you're good because you're at rival school. Yeah, I'm ready. What's your point? I'm 5'10".
It's like that for all sports, though, right? Oh.
Yes, it is like that.
No, football's got a point system.
Yeah.
There's a point system. Based off wins, if you play out of class, you get so many extra points. If you win by 13 points or more, you get so many points.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
You can't, I think you can't do
District
that.
seeding for football teams.
You're like keeping track of that for 30 days. But the advantage is for football, you can do that because you play 10 regular season games versus keeping track of all that for 30 regular season baseball games.
It's an algorithm. At some point, I see that coming in. It's just gonna be people coming through. Because there is no seeding meeting for football. It's just done by the.
Scott, they did change it a little bit this year. We're voting for the number one team, and then when that's decided, we'll go through the number 2 team.
Used to, we just voted for all of it. 1 through 8, write it on a piece of paper.
You can't vote for yourself.
Yeah, or 1 through 7, depending on how many you got this year. Yes, we're gonna vote on 1. Now we're gonna vote on 2. Now we're gonna vote on 3.
Well, before anybody shows up to their dugout full of water, because this is live. Get out of the way. That's okay. I mean, nobody's saying. But anyway, I want to thank first off the college coaches for being here and being consistent every week. We really appreciate that. Next week, sports banquet. So the coaches will be notified and the media will take today and vote on who those awards are going to. You'll get notified if your players or as a coach are coming back next week. We'll perhaps say something now. We may open this up at 11 next week because they've got 140 high school students coming in at 11:30 next week. So if you can get here a little bit early, so we're not behind or they run out of chicken or something like that, we would encourage them to get here a little bit early. I get here at 10:30 to set everything up. So if you are part of next week, we appreciate that. And again, thanks to Mike Snodgrass and to Play New Sports, Rawlings Easton for sponsoring, and Corey Riggs, as always. Don West is not here. Maybe he's watching, so Don, thank you. And we will see you next week before we get out of here, I think.
That's good. You covered it.
Oh, good. I took
Well, thank everybody for coming. I really appreciate it. And the idea on the leadoff club is to give a platform for baseball. So many coaches have talked about how great Southwest Missouri baseball is right now, and we know it is true. They need a platform, and this does a little bit of that, and also to promote. I mean, we need to be promoting what's going on with baseball in this area, and that's club can do that a little bit.
Thanks, everybody.